Nigerian power sector.
Engineer Mamman, who was accompanied by all the heads of agencies and parastatals in the power sector, disclosed this at an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Power at the National Assembly complex recently.
I want to assure you, we want to assure you that maximum cooperation. We also want to please you to please give us the maximum cooperation.
The minister also sought the cooperation of the Senate towards strategic interactions that will drive progress in the power sector. The senator representing Benue North East Senatorial District and Chairman Senate Committee on Power, Senator Gabriel Sozwan, welcomed the Minister of Power and the other heads of public agencies in the power sector to the interactive session with members of the committee. He said the interaction was important for the members of the committee to familiarize themselves with the heads of agencies in the power sector to help them facilitate the budget proposal defense of the ministry and its agencies.
The committee met at the inaugural meeting and felt that we should have an initial interaction with you and your people so as to get familiar with ourselves, so that from next week when you start the budget defense, we'll be taking you piecemeal, maybe take parastatals, and then we'll take you last as the father of the ministry.
The committee chairman told the minister that the Senate committee was also concerned about the challenges in the power sector as he expressed confidence in the power sector theme.
My interaction with some of your parastatals have also shown me that there's seriousness on the part of all of them. But we need to show a lot more commitment for us to be able to address some of these problems.
Senator Susan, who pledged the committee's commitment towards supporting the ministry and the agency's efforts to addressing them, said,
I want to urge all of us to cooperate among ourselves so that we can once and for all address the power problem. We are aware that if we're able to address even just 60% of the challenges we have in power, this country will address the poverty issues. Because with power, I can have a cottage industry in my village, ditto for any one of us. And that could absolve some of these youth that in absence of what to do, they are engaged in criminality. And so power is very central in what the president wants to achieve. If only we achieve 60% power challenges, we'll be able to address also 70% of Nigerian problems.
Towards ensuring that there is more access to electricity in Borno State, the state governor, Professor Babagana Umara Zulum, says he will continuously collaborate with the Transmission Company of Nigeria, just as he seeks the company's assurance to deliver more bulk power projects in the state.
The governor made this plea when he paid a courtesy visit to the management of the TCN at its corporate headquarters in Abuja. He also invited TCN to participate at the forthcoming Security and Development Summit to be hosted by the state.
We are inviting the TCN to participate as one of the major stakeholders. Secondly, I'm also pleased to bring to your kind notice that the government of Borno State is willing to start electrifying the towns of Dikwa, Mafa, Dikwa, Gamborungala by next year. And inshallah, we shall finish. So I think somehow along the line, we shall cross-fertilize our ideas when we reach that stage. But definitely, we shall give you enormous support, both in terms of security, logistics, accommodation, and what have you been, to ensure that the grid is being taken to all the local government headquarters of Borno State.
Governor Zulum said the current insurgency in the states and other parts of the Northeast brought about humanitarian crisis and poor economic activity that has increased the poverty rate.
The insurgency has triggered acute humanitarian and post-displacement crisis with devastating social and economic impact on the population, further deepening fragility and the poverty in the Northeast sub-region. And I think the most important thing is for us to address the root causes of the insurgency, which are not limited to endemic poverty, unemployment, poor social economic outcome, poor economic infrastructure, environmental degradation, drug abuse, climate change, among others. And therefore, power is very important. We need power to provide sustainable economic growth in the region.
He said the state needs the support of TCN in complementing the effort by providing key bulk power facilities in the state to enable the evacuation of more power across rural areas.
Borno State will bounce back again. But we need your support. Power is very important.
Responding, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, said the company under the present management has used innovative means and the enhanced capacity of the in-house engineers to deliver many power transmission projects.
Using TCN staff, using innovative method where we did a lot of costing. You remember we completed Damaturu substation using our staff. That is part of what we did to expand the grid. And if you look at the Northeast, where we have the weakest link in the power value chain, we commissioned Meduguri and Damaturu within these 2 years. And that add 100% of this kind of capacity in the Northeast.
Mr. Mohammed further revealed plans to expand the grid and bulk power transmission capacity in the Northeast.
Now, under the Transmission Rehabilitation Expansion Program, where we are trying to expand the grid and increase the capacity of the grid to 20,000 megawatt by 2022. Your Excellency, I want to tell you we are on track in terms of implementation. And all the $1.61 billion we have attracted are already under implementation. Some of them are even effective. Your Excellency, we have also achieved frequency control that has never been achieved in the history of Nigeria. And as at now, I can't tell you that the problem of transmission has been resolved, but I can tell you that anywhere we have a problem, we have a plan on how to resolve it. And we're putting redundancy across the nation. And even in the Northeast, we are building 3 additional 330 kV substations in the Northeast, which will increase the capacity by adding maybe about 300% of what we made. So this is what we are doing, Your Excellency.
Addressing the governor specifically on plans to increase the bulk power wheeling capacity of TCN in Borno State, Mr. Mohammed said,
and for Borno, we have plans for Borno. We also know that part of the reason why the Northeast is where it is because of access to electricity. There are some places in Borno where I come from, like you, where they are more than 1,000 kilometers away from the nearest generation station. Now, if these places like Manguru, Marche, are served on a 33 kV low voltage, the quality of power cannot do any economic activity. And that is the reason why, as part of our plan, we have secured $200 million from the African Development Bank to extend capacity mainly in Borno, and there are a few places in Nasser, Adamawa, and in Yobe. The reason is that we believe that the only way we can resolve the insecurity crisis in the Northeast, especially in Borno, we can only solve it if we provide economic activity for the people. And there's no way there will be economic activity without electricity. And therefore, we are determined to ensure that we put it. And I want to acknowledge the support we receive from Governor Kashim Shettima. Because when we designed that project, we did a collaboration with the state. It is the state that provided the security for all our consultants that will do the study.
He assured the governor that the company will collaborate with the state government in terms of delivering more bulk power.
We'll work with you, Your Excellency, to ensure that we solve the problem of the state, because it's very pathetic that every day we hear our people die. We will work with you to ensure that anything we can do to support you, we'll do it, Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
Let's take a break for a message. Please stay tuned.
Do not build under transmission power lines for your safety and health. Electricity power lines and substations, either for power transmission or power distribution services, are extremely dangerous when exposed to direct human contact. These power lines and substations transmit electricity that lights up our homes and offices, power our computers, TVs, and refrigerators. On the other hand, the same electricity when exposed is extremely dangerous. It can shock, electrocute, and kill anyone on its way. That is why everyone must adopt safety measures whenever we use or are close to electricity facilities like power lines or substation or transformers. For the safety of the people and animals, governments all over the world have approved way leave right-of-way of 50 meters for 330 kV power lines and 30 meters for 132 kV power lines, and for 33 kV lines the way leave is 15 meters. People are not expected to be found within this way leave or right-of-way for safety reasons. The lines can suddenly cut and fall to the ground with very disastrous consequences such as fire and electrocution of anybody and destruction of anything, be it vehicle, houses, or vegetation on its line. It has also been established that power lines and substation emit electromagnetic fields, EMF, which is dangerous to human health. The World Health Organization, WHO, has warned that people who spend long hours under or close high-tension lines stand the risk of being affected by EMF and be vulnerable to cancer, leukemia in children, miscarriages among pregnant women, and other terrible diseases. It is therefore advisable not to build any structure or operate any business under or near any electricity high-tension lines or substations. TCN wants you to stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy, avoid power lines. This message is from the management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has revealed plans to build the Eastern Transmission Backbone Line in Nigeria that will strengthen bulk power capacity around the Eastern Corridor and connect the West African Power Pool, WAP, to the Central African Power Pool in Cameroon.
The Managing Director, CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, disclosed this recently during a meeting of the TCN Project Management Unit and the French Development Agency, AFD, in Abuja.
The main objective is to enable connection with Central African Power Pool. The second objective is to ensure that we take electricity to the most deprived part of Nigeria. If you look at Northern Cross River, from Calabar to Ikom is about 5 hours. From Ikom to Abuja is about 2 hours. The whole of this area has no transmission interface, which this project is supposed to solve. Now, if you look at the entire northeast of Nigeria, 6 states get supplied through a single circuit line that ran from Gombe to Jos to Gombe. Anytime that line is out, the whole of northeast have no electricity, 6 states, and that is a single circuit line. There's no redundancy, no alternative route of supply. This kind of thing has happened in 2000 and November 2018. And the whole 3 days, whole 6 states of Nigeria has no supply for 3 days. This project is to solve that problem.
Mr. Mohammed said the project will enable Nigeria to increase the quantum of bulk electricity that could be transmitted to Niger Republic, which is one of the international customers for the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
This line is also helping to close loop that will provide flexibility and high quantity of power to Niger.
He explained the significance of the project, which will also evacuate power as an alternative line from the Odukpani NIPP power plant in Cross River State and the proposed Mambila hydropower plant in Taraba State.
This line is already considered by the ECOWAS head of states and government in their meeting of 22nd of December 2018, and it has been approved as a multinational project, which means it's a project that Nigeria is interested in financing.
Mohammed also lauded the work of AFD, especially in bringing the Abuja transmission wheeling scheme to fruition. Under the project, TCN is building 330 and 132 kilovolts line to increase the bulk power delivery capacity of TCN in Abuja and its environs.
This project is going on, and it's going on at the speed that we need. So I want to use this opportunity to once again thank you and to tell you that we are really very grateful for what you have done for this country. Thank you very much.
The AFD team leader on power projects, Mr. Jeremy Gauss, said the AFD team and the TCM project management unit will need to discuss more on the project to enable seamless delivery.
The line routes that is proposed just in the terms of reference for the feasibility studies seems to be a bit, straight to difficult areas. So we need to discuss this project, or this project start in the beginning, and then we'll be able to say if we can go further with you.
The AFD team also paid a courtesy call on the Minister of State for Power, Mr. Godi J.D. Agba, after the meeting with the Managing Director, CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria and promoters of the Eco Atlantic City in Lagos have begun a partnership that would deliver 1,000 megawatts of electricity from the national grid to the city.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of TCM, Mr. UG Mohammed, who addressed the press during his visit to the city at Victoria Island in Lagos, said,
"We are here because we have conducted a study under which we want to supply Eco Atlantic directly from the grid, meaning Eco Atlantic City will be connected directly to the grid so that we supply power to this place. The study that we have conducted have indicated that gradually the power requirement of Eco Atlantic is going to be close to up to 1,000 megawatt. But it will take a long time before we reach that. Therefore, we are going to build a 330 kV double circuit line from Lekki to Eco Atlantic. But we are going to step down and supply Eco Atlantic at this time at 132, so that when the need for 330 comes up in the future, we don't need to build a new line. We'll only add the transformers, meaning build the substation at 330. That's all.
Mohammed also announced that the pre-qualification of contractors for construction of a transmission line and the bulk power delivery substation was ongoing.
We have advertised for the pre-qualification of the contractors for both the line and the substation. I also want to tell you that we are working closely with the Lagos State government. They have given us all the support that we need, and the right of way has been established, and we are working to ensure that we realize that.
He said the eligible customer regulation in the power sector permits the project promoters, South Energies, to become eligible customer that could contract TCN for bulk power delivery through the use of transmission network to the city.
Under the eligible customer declaration that was declared by the Minister of Power, the then former Minister of Power, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, any point load customer that can consume up to 2 megawatts and above can be connected to the grid directly through what we call eligible customer. So Eco Atlantic is going to be eligible customer, and they will be connected directly to the grid. So there will be no disco requirement. As of today, we have about 8 customers that are connected directly to the grid under eligible customer arrangement.
Mohammed said the bulk power delivery to Eco Atlantic City will begin with 30 megawatts before it grows to about 1,000 megawatts in the future.
All arrangement to do it to reach the 1,000 is what we are putting in place.
Mr. Khalid Badr, who is the utility manager South Energies Nigeria Limited, promoting and developing the Eco Atlantic City, said the company was committed to providing all the infrastructure facilities, including constant and stable electricity supply to the city.
Eco Atlantic City development is one of the Nigerian projects which is for the future. Everybody here is working to realize this project because it is a very good potential for Lagos City. And you can see that a lot of real estate project has started here already. And from our side, we are committed to provide all the infrastructure facilities, including the electrical power, to all our partners here in Eco Atlantic City.
On the partnership the firm entered with TCN, Mr. Bader said the company was comfortable as an eligible customer to contract electricity directly from the national grid through TCN.
With TCN, we will be able to realize this under the eligible customer regime. All the infrastructure related to electrical power distribution within Eco Atlantic City is almost ready to receive power for phase 1 and phase 2. And we are now constructing all the power centers related to the distribution, such as substations and so on, in parallel with all the efforts of TCN to realize the connection to our city.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away.
In the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, we transmit bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, to distribution load centers of various distribution companies, DISCOs. Nationwide, we do not generate electricity, neither do we distribute same directly to electricity consumers. TCN has two business units, the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operations, ISO. The ISO comprises of System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. The business units all perform specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, wielding power for national economic growth. This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
We appreciate you for sticking with us on this program. Join us next week on the same station for a refreshing edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chinwenwa Anyanwu. Bye for now.
Quality, right thickness. That's what Total Aluminum gives you.
No matter the size of your project, Total Aluminium gives you the specifications that suit your needs. From long-span aluminium roof and cladding sheets, step tiles, stone chip coated and Metcopo roof tiles, all these are working for one purpose. And with the newly acquired technology, Total Aluminium ensures your structure gets the roofing that would stand the test of time. Come rain, come shine. Total Aluminium Systems Limited.
They offer you efficient customer service.
Plus lumefantrine, pop, 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 pop. Oral suspension for children, tablet for adults.
Or you make you waka for malaria. They make you public 10 get artemether plus lumefantrine. They help you waka for malaria side. Public 10 they available for pharmacy.
Pop, pop, pop.
Poplitem get NAFDAC approval. The number now P40202.
Poplitem, na product of Publix Pharmaceuticals Nigeria Limited, part of Publix Healthcare UK Limited. Publix Pharmaceuticals Nigeria Limited. Good health for your domot. If symptoms persist after 3 days.
Welcome to Nigeria, a fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget.
Flood remains one natural disaster that has defied all forms of mitigation actions and remedial measures, of course, in some cases, but we must learn how to grapple with it. Good evening and welcome to Weekend File. Let's talk flood. Apart from earlier predictions on floods and flooding in parts of the country, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency reported that no fewer than 74 council areas in 30 states would experience severe flooding between June and September this year. The agency also affirmed that water from 6 out of 9 countries that make up the Niger Basin will be emptied into the country and would result to flooding in more than 13 states of the Federation. Now, the increase in water inflow apparently caused by a peak in the water levels of rivers Niger and Benue, hitting 10.5 meters, well above the alert level of 9 meters. Within the past 2 months, many states and communities have been inundated by floods, impacting adversely on states like Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, Niger, Kogi, Oyo, Lagos, Cross River, Delta, and many more states. In Borno, for instance, we hear that 2 IDP camps and a village in Ngala were affected by flood, with several houses submerged. A research carried out by Red Cross indicates that since June 2019, flood hit 124 council areas within the 36 states and the FCT, affecting over 210,000 people with 171 casualties as reported in hospitals. A report also indicates that more than 130,000 people were displaced, with at least 13 deaths reported, 11 of them in Niger, 1 each in Cross River and the FCT. So tonight, we'll take a closer look at what may be regarded as the final lap of 2019 flooding in Nigeria and its consequences. My name is Kirian Umayo, and the show begins with the news. President Muhammadu Buhari left Jeddah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for London on a private visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president was seen off at King Abdulaziz International Airport by the Deputy Governor of Jeddah Province, Prince Abdallah bin Abdulaziz, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, described the president's outing in Saudi Arabia as a worthwhile undertaking.
The idea of the visit was to generate interest by Saudi Arabia and other countries for investment in Nigeria. I think it has succeeded in a big way. The president has had very crucial, very strategic meetings with the rulers of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He has had meetings with the business leaders, the investment authorities, the sovereign wealth fund, and the world's biggest oil and gas operator, Aramco, which is Saudi Arabia. What the Saudis have done for Nigeria is to say to President Muhammadu Buhari, what do you want from us? And how do you want us to proceed? And so this is why there's going to be set up the Saudi-Nigeria Strategic Council that will define the scope and areas of investment and in matters of security, trade, and all of that. The Saudis have, for instance, indicated they will be investing $100 billion in India alone. They have done 10 billion in Pakistan, 20 billion in Indonesia. And they have said to President Muhammadu Buhari, these are the things we want to do in our own country. So we are very proud of the achievements that have been recorded, and in a matter of time, the council will be inaugurated. The oil and gas interests in Saudi Arabia will come. They will do diagnostic, appraisal of our own facilities, NNPC infrastructure, and our refineries. And from there, they will define how much investment they want to do in oil and gas, including gas pipeline, which is of critical significance, to be networked in the country.
And President Buhari is expected back in the country on the 17th of this month. Now let's take you to Lagos, where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is leading the campaign to promote Nigeria's rich cultural heritage and history through visual arts. Vice President Osinbajo notes that visual arts have contributed immensely in rebranding the West Africa's premier international arts fair. Abolade Salami reports.
Colorful drawings and artistic paintings telling the story of Nigeria's history, the people, and the diverse culture. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, after a tour of the art exhibition, gave credence to the fact that work of art has been an instrument for Africans in rewriting their history.
The history of Nigeria and all that. This is really important for us, very, very important, especially to see how, over the years, people have continued to propagate African art and Nigerian art in particular. I'm so fascinated to see Germans, Italians, South Africans who have galleries that really just have a lot of Nigerian art and very, very excellent Nigerian art for that matter.
The visual arts, which are designed to project the country's huge opportunities in various sectors, have in no small measure leave a long-lasting impression about Africa's largest economy.
I recognize that not only did Nigeria and the rest of the continent have gems here, now we had a vast history
history and heritage to pull from, and a history that in some cases was being overlooked because we were not fully continuing on with the legacy that had been laid by many, many who had come before.
The visual arts exhibition attracted both foreign and local art exhibitors. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Lagos witnessed another building collapse yet again this Friday. This time the structure is a 3-story building located in Ikoyi area of the metropolis. Annie Daniels reports that fortunately no life was lost, but rescue efforts are still ongoing to clear the debris.
The 3-story building, still under construction, eyewitnesses disclosed, collapsed at about 3 in the afternoon.
Me, I did the work. As I finished that work, I come down. Wow.
Next thing I see, the people I was going to meet, I saw them going down as if I'm watching movie or something. I was just lost.
The expressions on the faces of the construction workers showed frustration and anger. This is one building collapse too many. And to speak further on that is Mr. Wahid Nuruddin, whose brother is trapped right under the rubble.
You know they were. That's why the only one that is trapped. He's sleeping inside.
Already we have rescued 4 people, which they have taken them to hospital.
Because the guy one got a raised hand, you just see only the finger. So we try and remove it. But the leg has a damage.
NTA News was also informed that the building plan was originally meant for a 2-story edifice. However, the contractor and the owner of the structure decided to construct an additional floor. On ground to rescue the trapped worker are men of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, as well as other Lagos State government functionaries.
The gap in there is that in as small that the government is doing their own bits, the people too need to do the needful.
When I get back to the House of Assembly, I report this to my speaker, and the appropriate steps will be taken to ensure that we have a better environment for the construction industry in our state.
Meanwhile, there are fears that other adjoining buildings still under construction, belonging to the same person in the same premises, might collapse any moment soon. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has dissociated itself from having any contact or discussion with a private firm known as BRICS Company on the Operation Positive Identification exercise, as has been reported on the social media, alleging that the Nigerian Army will conduct the operation codenamed Naopi. The acting director of Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagil Musa, recalls in his statement that in order to complement the ongoing operation in the Northeast, the Nigerian Army has an ongoing operation, Positive Identification, which is intelligence-driven, deliberately targeted on operation and not an independent operation. Now, the statement indicates that the operation, Positive Identification, is integral and complementary to Operation Lafia Dole in the Northeast. The aim of the operation is to arrest fleeing terrorists as the theater of operation to a safe haven. In this regard, members of the public are advised to disregard the faceless and mischievous BRICS Company and its alleged Naopi operation. The Director General of the Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji, says the temporary border closure is aimed at addressing security challenges confronting the country. The Director General was speaking at the graduation ceremony of National Institute for Security Studies, where he also harped on the need for the use of experience and intelligence in the fight against crime. In this respect, the Director General said the National Institute for Security Studies will be further upgraded to meet the need of participants.
Despite the criticisms, the closure of our borders so far have succeeded in checkmating not only smuggle of goods and then checkmating the movement of people that are likely to undermine the security of this country.
To be ahead of a criminal implies an improved knowledge of situation, tactics, and stratagems of the lawbreakers.
Well, let's turn our attention to top budget scrutiny. And news reaching us indicates that the Joint National Assembly Committee on Land Transport has suspended consideration of the 2020 budget defense by the Nigerian Railway Corporation and Institute of Transport Technologies area, pending the provision of additional documents on project proposals in the budget. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminuha has this report.
Breakdown of projects funds by the Institute of Transport Technology and construction of access roads to railway stations in Kano, Lagos, Enugu, Kafanchan and Zungeru are part of the requirements needed by the committee. Co-chairman of the committee, Abbas Tajuddin, says it is with a view to achieving a comprehensive analysis on the proposals.
The clerks will give you time and venue on Tuesday, you understand? But as it is, we cannot continue considering your report.
Meanwhile, the National Identity Management Commission at Budget Defense before the Joint Committee on Population says it will collaborate with the private sector on the World Bank funding projects to ensuring that every Nigerian is captured in its database within the next 3 years, while the National Population Commission's 2020 budget proposal is emphatic on the significance of birth registration.
We would like to throw out that to the private sector to do the investment, to have the secure environment to do the card, and we pay them.
6 river basin development authorities in the country have also defended their 2020 budget estimates to the Senate Committee on Water Resources. Committee Chairman Bello Mandia says they have identified areas in which the envelope budget system could affect the operations of the authorities, seeking additional information on some 2019 projects. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Now, the Ember months are here with the usual expected increase in human and vehicular traffic in parts of the country and with attendant apprehension of increase in road crashes. As expected, road marshals are also not leaving anything to chance in their efforts to minimize road accidents. For instance, in Birnin Kebbi, a special marshal unit has been inaugurated to complement efforts of the Federal Road Safety Corps in this regard. The inauguration of the unit was the high point of the 2019 Special Marshal Sectoral Workshop. Abdullahi Ilalu tells us more.
The zonal commanding officer in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara states, Kayode Olagunji, said the new special marshals are expected to be on the roads controlling traffic, motor parks educating drivers, and distributing public enlightenment handbills. He implored those in higher institutions of learning to engage in research on road traffic crashes, causes, effects, and control. The zonal commander decried the attitude of some special marshals whose personal interests in the scheme are conflicting with the essence of volunteerism.
Any special marshal involved in bribery, incivility to members of the public, and other misdemeanor would also be strictly dealt with in accordance with extant regulations.
Reiterating NTA's commitment to educating, informing, and enlightening the public, especially motorists, the general manager urged road safety to relent effort in their responsibility. Some students of a private school in Birnin Kebbi thereafter took the center stage to enlighten motorists on what to do when they come across some road signs. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdullah Umar Ilalu, NTA News.
Well, the saying that when you empower a woman, you are building a nation is resonating with the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria as it stimulates the involvement of more women in the transportation industry. Lagos State Chairman of the association, Musa Mohammed, said the initiative is to support government's efforts at lifting more Nigerian women out of poverty. Michael Olaleye has that report.
Women represent the largest percentage of public transport users in the world, yet they are faced with various barriers when it comes to investing in the mobility business. Aside safety concern, fund and infrastructure are usually the inhibiting factors. The Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria is making efforts to change this narrative with its new initiative of gender parity and mainstreaming that will enable the association acquire vehicles for female drivers. Chairman Lagos State Chapter of the Union, Musa Muhammad, is thinking in line with the International Labour Organization's projection that the global GDP could grow by an additional $5.8 trillion if the gender gap in labour is closed.
We don't have money to go and say we'll go and buy new vehicles now. But if we can get grade 1, either the hover bus or Sharon or whatever, I know, except somebody who is greedy. Yes, there is no how you cannot make up with the demand.
The female drivers commended the gesture, seeing it as a problem solver to pressing domestic challenges.
Governments have started recruiting us as female government drivers. If you know driving is your hobby and you want to use it as a source of income, come out and join the driving sector.
I'm grateful to God and I pray that God will bless him, give him more wisdom so that he can lead us through.
The chapter said empowering Nigerians is a continuous exercise, urging state and zonal chairmen to be alive to their responsibility and promote national unity. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA, and tonight we are focusing on 2019 flooding, its devastating effects and mitigation plans for next year. Next, correspondence report.
Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and Mainstream Energy Solutions are co-hosting the 14th General Assembly of the West African Power Pool, WAP. The theme of the General Assembly is ECOWAS Regional Electricity, Today and Future Opportunities, which will hold on the 8th of November 2019. Venue, Transcorp Hilton Hotels, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari will declare open the General Assembly on Friday the 8th of November. Guests are expected to be seated by 9 a.m. Also in attendance is the Minister of Power and major power stakeholders from all 15 West African countries. The countries include Senegal, Gambia, Togo, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Liberia, Benin, Niger, Mali, Guinea, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. This message is from the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited.
The Nigerian Medical Association presents its second National Health Summit with the theme Patient-Centered Care. This summit will host the 25th Commonwealth Medical Association Triennial Conference. Chief host, the Minister of the FCT, Malam Muhammad Musa Bello. Co-chief host, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule. Hosts, Dr. Francis Adedayo Faduile, President, NMA. Professor Vajira Disanayanke, President, CMA. Dr. Osage Emmanuel Ehanire, Minister of Health. Speaker, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, Executive Governor of Delta State. Special Guest of Honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chairman, General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, retired. There will be the inauguration of Dr. Osahon Enabulele, a Nigerian, to be the President of the Commonwealth Medical Association. Date, 4th to 8th November 2019. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Venue, International Conference Center, Abuja. For registration, please log on to www.nmanationalhealthsummit.com. Signed, Dr. Ekpe Phillips Uche, Chairman, LOC. Dr. Ofem Eng, Chairman, CPC.
The Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raju Fashola, SAN, currently State Commissioners, Permanent Secretaries of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and other stakeholders in the built industry to the 8th meeting of the National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Theme: Housing Development and Consumer Credit as Strategies for National Prosperity. Special Guest of Honor, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Muhammad Musa Bello. Date, Monday 4th to Friday, 8th November 2019. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Venue, Chida Hotel, Plot 224, Solomon La Way, Utako District, Abuja. Mohammed Bukar, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
Can say me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK. Wow, now you say fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do, Abi? And I see as I do,
Go TV. Live it. Love it.
And I see as we do,
The acting head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemiesan, invites heads of service of the 36 states of the Federation, permanent secretaries and directors in charge of establishment matters to the 41st meeting of the National Council on Establishment, date Monday 4th to Friday 8th November 2019, time 9 a.m. daily, venue Orchid Hotels, DBS Road, Asaba, Delta State. Arrival, Sunday, November 3rd, 2019. Announcer Dr. Magdalene N. Ajani, Permanent Secretary, Service Policies and Strategies Office. Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation.
Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit 2019 holds on the 6th to the 8th of November 2019. The summit will take place at the Banquet Hall Presidential Villa, Abuja, Nigeria. Theme: leveraging diaspora resources for economic growth. Sectors: agribusiness, education, training, healthcare, entertainment, sports, hospitality and tourism, infrastructure and real estate, manufacturing, extractive industries, telecommunications, technology and innovation, waste management and environmental remediation, transportation. For registration, visit www.ndis.gov.ng. For participation and sponsorship, please call 090-177-77008, 0817-2244-660. Convened by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission.
Welcome back. As a confluence town, Lokoja occupies a strategic position which makes it vulnerable to the whims and caprices of nature, specifically flooding. Although there are efforts to mitigate effects, but Solomon Ayedehe reports that human factors are eroding the impact.
Just as it happened in 2012, in 2018, the source of livelihood and investment of many were destroyed as a result of flash flood caused by heavy rains, blocked water channels, and overflowing rivers Niger and Benue. Presently, local residents and those living in the hinterlands, especially in Baji and Kogi local government areas of the state,
now you come meet me and my children. The place now go sleep, I know get now here they sleep. Food man no day, money no day.
The water levels from the confluence rivers of Niger and Benue are still rising and may get worse, which will compound the current situation. Kogi State government, however, say the problem is fast becoming overbearing, even as they strive to mitigate the effect.
In the last 48 hours, with the heavy rainfall and more water coming from upstream, and more people are inside. And so as a state we are overwhelmed.
The occurrence of flood and its effect on the people call for proactive intervention. Concerted efforts from all relevant stakeholders is required in Lokoja. Solomon Ayedehe.
One of the seasons residents of Lagos dread the most is the rainy season, and for obvious reasons. Flooding has actually become a challenge that seems to have defied all solutions in that area. And from the eye view of experts, Lagos, like Lokoja, enjoys a topography that requires strategic approach that will incorporate the reality of loss of wetlands and natural flood-absorbing areas. Jennifer Igwe tells us more.
Parts of Lagos State that were originally wetlands meant to act as mop-up for rainwater are now residential neighborhoods. This cuts across low and high income areas of the state. In spite of this, however, strategic flood management plans were not included in constructions carried out in such places. Lagos, with its low-lying topography, is prone to flooding, but the loss of natural flood-absorbing areas, coupled with poor drainage channels, structures erected in inappropriate places, and indiscriminate disposal of waste that clog gutters and canals aggravates the situation.
The road must be well connected. Your wastewater, your storm water must be well connected so that they will discharge appropriately without impacting negatively on adjoining development. That is when you will have said, I'm living comfortably and I'm living sustainably.
For those along the vast Lagos coastline, it is a case of residents with a crucial but scary neighbor. Those who earn a living from fishing rely on the marine, while others enjoy the aquatic view and benefit from the protein creatures in it provide. Occasional invasion of the ocean in the coastal neighborhoods, however, give a backseat to the many benefits inherent in it, as residents end up with tale of woe and fear of hazards and disasters.
The state has been very pragmatic, and have already put a series of groins that have somehow protected a portion of the coastline. But we need a lot more of this protection all the way down our coast.
Discharge of water from the dam into the Ogun River that flows into Lagos is another factor that inundates some areas. Several efforts and initiatives have been made and still ongoing in the state by the government. In spite of these, the challenges of flooding persists. Experts say with the growing population of Lagos and its development process, a more holistic approach to drainage system and flood management is needed to tackle the challenge of flooding, including effective monitoring and protection of shoreline. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Thank you, Jennifer. And from Benin, Ede Ago reports that flooding is as familiar as the ancient city. She says flooding in the state has increased in volume and scope, just as the demography has equally changed. The effects are not different from other parts of the country. Destruction and sometimes even death. Obstruction of waterways and the indiscriminate dumping of waste by the people have also obscured government's efforts to reverse the trend.
In-city has been regularly ravaged by floods. Official reports have identified 35 streets as being particularly vulnerable to these angry waters. They include Uselu-Gbawo, Upper Sakomba and Upper Mission roads that with more intense rains, Benin floods continue to rise in volume and extent, threatening new districts in the metropolis.
Visit that upstairs. Now this kind of thing, now destroy that full upstairs, this kind of upstairs like that. And it keep 3 people that time and be 2 people.
I've been managing, most of the old tenants left to look for somewhere to sleep. In as much I have a vehicle, I normally sleep inside my vehicle.
We have not had it like this before.
Poor waste disposal habits, incompetent construction, failed roads, and half-hearted implementation of town planning protocols. Experts say these have left the city with little or no capacity to cope with the rising body of water.
Those states, as we all know, is reasonably on the flat plate, so there is naturally expected that there will be flood challenges.
The current administration in the state has initiated a variety of flood control initiatives and reinforced the storm control program inherited from the former government.
Residents not to build on waterways so as to ensure free flow of water when it rains.
Residents anticipate respite from the floods as the rain thin out, but urge government to continue with its enlightenment campaigns for more responsible waste management conduct by all. In Benin, Ede Ago, NTA News.
In Bayelsa State, flooding seems to have defied all predictions that it would have rescinded by now. Well, what means that there is a flooding there at the moment. It has continued unabated in some parts of the state, and of course, displacing hundreds of people. So what are the authorities doing? Timi Pre or here finds out in this report.
Bayelsa State lies at the lower end of the River Nun and it is easily flooded. After the 2012 flooding that devastated people in the state, flooding has become an annual occurrence. Many farmlands and houses are under water. Farmers had to harvest their cassava and other crops in a hurry, while some that left it too late lost everything. From Yenegua, the state capital, to southern Ijo and Ekeremo local government areas, flooding has become an enemy of the people, pursuing residents out of their homes. Canoes have become a regular means of transportation to emergency accommodation. Many businesses have been shut down due to flooding of their premises.
Most of us are sleeping on top of water. Like this morning, as you can see me. So please, we're asking the governments to help us.
Also not spared by the devastating flood is the Niger Delta University, Amasoma. Students and commuters wade in the flood water to access their classes. Amasoma, home to the Niger Delta University, is the worst hit, and parts of the university are inaccessible because of the onslaught of the flood.
Flood is affecting us badly. Like you can see, this is ETF building. This is the major road to our classrooms, and you can see that we can barely pass through this way.
There's no business. Everything is shut down. We are just here looking at the water, praying for the water to go down.
Since this water come now, so we there on top, they suffer. No assistance, no food served to eat. We just there.
They are calling on government to take proactive steps to ameliorate their plight. In Yenogwa, Timinopre Ohia, NTA News.
The Benue State government has called on the federal government to dredge the River Benue in order to put an end to the perennial flooding in parts of the state. Governor Samuel Otom made the appeal when he visited some areas affected by flood in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, where property worth millions of naira were destroyed. Bem Hanya reports.
Residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, and other parts of the state have continued to count their losses following the flood that has sacked them from their homes in the past few days. As Governor Samuel Otom took off time to inspect the affected areas in Makurdi metropolis, the worst affected areas are Makurdi Boko Road, Rice Mill Wadata, Nyongun and Kucha Utebe, where residents were spotted moving their belongings to safer places.
The only way we can have a permanent solution against this flooding is when River Benue is dredged.
Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Dr. Emmanuel Shio, said Governor Otom had directed that a camp be opened at the ultra-modern international market for those displaced by the flood. Some of the victims of the flood solicited for assistance from organizations and public-spirited individuals.
I'm happy that His Excellency is been around. River Benue has to be dug so that this thing would give a permanent solution to avoid future occurrences.
To sleep, my heart them. As you people are seeing the water, some people has children and they don't know where they will get food and feed them.
In Makurdi, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
This is Weekend File, broadcast live on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll be speaking with the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, the person of Mustafa Mehaja. We'll be right back.
Now what are you doing? Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now. Waiting below 200 naira recharge card for me.
200 naira. Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of heavy prizes like a can of pepper, industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. Glow, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make
Make una no go recharge una glow. I don't win generator. And here, now myself. Oh, the more you dey recharge, the more your chance the better.
Unlimited.
Not so fast. I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
Succeeded to pool a galaxy of stars from the north, south, east to the west, and central Africa. And also those that are domiciled beyond the shores of Africa under one roof.
Well, I'm now being joined by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mustafa Mehaja. Good evening and welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
First of all, let's get to a perspective of the reports that we've just broadcast.
Well, the fact that there was so many incidences, precisely many states has multiple incidences right from June after this time around. So this is the facts on ground. There are incidences of flood in about 30 states.
All right, now what's on ground at the moment, from NEMA? What have you been doing?
Well, since the February, when NIMET and NISA released the focus, the outlook, and the prediction, NEMA commenced the usual campaign of enlightenment, sensitization across the country. Of course, there are difficulties associated with such kind of campaigns because people often disagree with us or refuse to respond to move to higher ground. However, many has been moved or have moved. But where incidences happens, you must have situation that affects so many people. In this case, what happened this year was not more or less wasn't a river flooding. It was flash flood across the country. There was heavy rainfall, a sustained one. In fact, up to this month, rain continues even in part of the northern, part of the north. Like Yobe, it happened even in my town last week, it rained. So these are some of the things. That is to say, climate change is a reality. I was in a United Nations General Assembly, the second level on the 14th to 17th of last month. The whole world see it and are serious about how to confront the issue of climate change, which partly is the cause of this problem. The other part is our actions or inactions as regard to this issue further aggravate the problem of flooding in this country. And NEMA
being part of government. The government has been very proactive in enlightening the people. We are even changing our way of handling disaster management because we must be more proactive. We must ensure that preparedness and mitigations activities are enhanced so that we could have reduced response and reduced issue of relief interventions, because now before now the concentration mainly was to wait for the disaster to come and then start dishing out relief. We are now changing our thinking. We are now changing our activities toward an improve or enhance preparedness and mitigation activities. The governor of Benue State spoke about the silting of River Benue and of course River Niger. Yes, is one fact, but the other main issue is the inaction of most of the state governments by not enforcing certain building codes or laws. People are allowed to build along, the river canals or by the river sides. People are allowed to build low-level land where buildings are not supposed to be there. The drainages, people dump refuse in drainages, thereby blocking the course of the rivers, and these are activities that also has to stop. So the bulk issue on the man in action goes to the state government. The state governments bear the responsibility of ensuring or enforcing all the laws and the codes, building codes and other things, which we are still battling, trying to convince them it's not federal government job to go to the state and ensure that building codes are enforced. This is part of the problem.
Now, two important things you mentioned here. First is sensitization. Now, how effective has that been, given the fact that many communities refuse to move up to move away from their original location to upland, and of course in many states. So how has this been? Is it because they are not aware of this sensitization, or that they bluntly refused to move?
Well, actually, even if they are not aware, they are made to be aware by telling them this is this. But the issue is, it's a social element in it. People feel it's their ancestral home and they cannot move. These are kind of the issues that really we are faced in convincing the people. However, as I said earlier on in this forum at NTA, sometimes we may have to enforce this because it's part of the responsibility of any government to save lives. If we observe that the people refuse to move and their lives have been threatened, obviously it has to be enforced. We are looking at that too.
Another aspect is if we say refusal by some state governments, to collaborate with NEMA to see how some of the predictions by Hydrological Agency or NIMET should be adhered to in terms of mitigation actions. For instance, now we're looking at next year. Next year is just a few months away, and between the first quarter, after the first quarter of next year, we're expecting rain again. Now, what should be your role in this respect, in terms of trying to liaise with the state governments to get them to heed to the predictions of these agencies?
In reality, all our activities in the line of sensitization, we do it together with the state emergency management agencies wherever we are. But the reality of situation is the issue of other aspect of it, that is toward enforcement of building codes, ensuring that there is proper adherence to non-deposition of refuse on the canal, and then there is strict adherence or enforcement of not building houses along the river canals or in the low levels where they are susceptible to flooding. These are some of the problems where the state government has to take up responsibility. I was privileged to discuss with one of the former governors. He said he cannot enforce it because it's a political regime. If you do it, people will not vote for him. These are some of the issues. In fact, I was really demoralized for an enlightened person of that nature to say such kind of thing, because life-saving is part of the responsibility of governments.
Okay, now interagency collaboration is critical in alleviating the hardship, of this menace on the people. How have you been able to cope with the torrent of complaints here and there? People, of course, if you watch the Bayelsa report, it's so devastating, and I'm sure that it happens also in Adamawa, for instance, Yobe too. How are you coping with that? Because many people have been dislodged.
Well, in reality, let me just make some clarification as regard to our mandate. Our mandate is coordination of federal resources and agencies toward disaster management. But as I said in several fora, or rather forum, disaster management is categorized into three: the catastrophic disaster, the major disaster, and the minor disasters. And within the approved policy of government, NEMA and other federal agencies are responsible to respond to the catastrophic disasters only. The state management, emergency management agencies and local emergency management committee are supposed to handle that major and minor disasters. That is not done. That is not been applied because most of the SEMAs and in fact like LEMCs doesn't exist in many states. So when the structure is weak at that level, then disaster management becomes more complex, more difficult to manage, and this is the problem presently we are facing as NEMA. So you sometimes find yourself responding to a minor disaster. It's just simple, rather there is no simple, but a minor fire incidents in a village that NEMA is being called upon. Where is the firefighters in the state? Where is the firefighters in the local governments? These are some of the problems. So part of the responsibility we took to ourselves is to ensure that through various arms of government or other forum like National Economic Council, to plead to the governors to take up to their responsibilities and ensure that the SEMAs and the LEMCs are equipped, are made to be build their capacity and fund them properly so that they can take up such responsibility. It's only when we do that then you have an effective and efficient disaster management in this country.
Well, sometimes some observers are saying that your response time is not commendable in terms of when your people will reach out to those who are having issues of flooding or any other kind of disaster. Is that true?
Well, I think it's not true. I was privileged to know some time ago there was allegation that even the president's town there was no response. That is a case where under 48 hours there was a response, and in many cases there are yes, there could be some issues. Supposing logistic issues, you cannot move the items into the areas because they are completely flooded, and issues like that sometimes we confront them. We are also by the policy, established policies, we need to carry out thorough assessment in some incidences so that we know the content of the disaster before we move. Even as that, we do it within few days, and then we take relief materials to the people. There are incidences that we took materials under 24 hours.
Currently, within the last 1 week, actually, many communities have been flooded across the nation. How are you coping with providing them with relief materials?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about, logistics issues. When you have multiple disasters at the same time, we have offices across the country, particularly, specifically we have 16 offices across the country. We have zonal offices, we have operational offices, and they cover only 2 or 3 states. So we are always there. Let me give you an example of Onisha incidents. It happened on 17th. We are there on 17th. We carry out the assessment, and that's a major catastrophic disaster where hundreds of shops have been destroyed and houses, even tall buildings, story buildings were destroyed. So the livelihood of the people has been affected. So many people were affected, and it requires sometimes to really move in. It's not flood, it's fire incident. So there are operational challenges which sometimes delay our movement, but in most cases, this government has been very proactive as regard to disaster management and response.
All right, we'd like to thank you for coming. Of course, this is about the third time we're discussing flood on this platform. It's been wonderful hosting you again on this platform. Thank you very much indeed.
It's my pleasure.
We've been speaking with Mr. Mustafa Mehaja. He is the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency. This is Weekend File. We'll be back very shortly with sports update.
You are about to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
On our sports update, South Africa celebrate as they beat England to win third Rugby World Cup in Yokohama, Japan. Let's now join Gift George for details of this and more.
South Africa has won the Rugby World Cup, defeating England 32-12. The Springboks finished off the English side with two superbly taken late tries to win the World Cup for the third time. England came into the match with huge expectations after New Zealand win, but were outplayed in all departments by the South Africans. With the victory, Springboks has won the World Cup Championship 3 times in 1995, 2007 and 2019. Nigeria's under-17 team, the Golden Eaglets, lost to Australia on Friday in the last Group B game by 1-2. The Nigerian side, however, topped the group with 6 points, with superior goal difference, followed by Ecuador also with 6 points.
It was a blip, but then they can improve from it and try as much as possible to not to ship in goal and then to score more goals and take their chances.
They have to still work on some certain areas. Most especially, people have been clamoring the defense line, because how can you chip in 6 goals in 3 games?
The 2019 Nigerian Women Football League final will be between Rivers Angels and Confluence Queens at the Agege Stadium on Sunday. In the first semi-finals in the Super 4, Confluence Queens beat Adamawa Queens 2-0, while Rivers Angels defeated former champions Bayelsa Queens 4-2 on penalties after the match ended goalless in regulation time. The finals on Sunday is expected to have the Minister of Youth and Sports, Sunday Dare, and the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallinn, in attendance. About 28 male and female volleyball clubs will be featured at the 5th edition of the Legacy Volleyball Championship, holding between the 4th to the 9th of November 2019 in Lagos. The organizers say all machineries have been put in place to ensure a successful hosting of the tournament at the volleyball courts of the Teslim Balogun and the Indoor Sports Hall of the National Stadium, Lagos.
It's going to be a very, very big tournament this time around, and I believe that by this we are taking volleyball to the next level.
Sunday is expected to be a technical meeting while the tournament commences on Monday. With sports updates, Gift George, NTA News.
On a solemn note, one of Nigeria's pioneer newscasters and television broadcasters, Otumba Kunle Olashobe, has been buried in his country home, Efo Alaye, in Ekiti State. The body of the media icon was committed to Mother Earth after a funeral service at St. Paul's Anglican Church in the town. Ayodeji Ogunshake reports.
Of the Bishop of Ekiti West, Right Reverend Rufus Adepoju dwelt on the need for mankind to be concerned about where they will spend their eternity and urged the congregation to have encounter with their Creator and seek eternal kingdom of God. Bishop Adepoju described Otumba Olasope as epitome of humility and lover of people. He urged those he left behind to sustain the good work of their father. Our glowing tribute from Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kaode Fayemi, who represented by his deputy, BC Egbeyemi, and the Ondo State Governor, whose message was delivered by the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General Adekola Olawoye, as well as special renditions by different groups. The remains of the media icon laid to rest at the Church Cemetery.
He worked all his life in broadcasting, and he died a broadcaster.
The major legacy he left was the fact that I should always remember the son of who I am.
Aged 82, Otumba Kunle Olasope is survived by a wife and 6 children from Efanlaye. Ayodi Jobushaki, NTA News.
Well, let's get some weather reports for tomorrow. And that's our show tonight. We thank you for watching. See you again next week.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians. Your eyes have it.
Are you an entrepreneur? Do you have an existing business or great business idea? Then Africa's Young Entrepreneurs Empowerment Nigeria, ION, is a program for you, where thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs will be empowered with business funding, mentorship, specialized skills training, and equipment. To register for the ION 2019 program, visit www.ion.ng. Fill in your personal and business details, check your email frequently, and follow us on all our social media platforms for regular updates. For more information, visit www.ayen.ng or call 070-00444444. ION 2019, showcasing and empowering Nigerian entrepreneurs.
This is the network service of the NTA.
The new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Expository interviews with stars of the team within our space. Becky Madojemo of NTA, Utibe Umore of AIT, Nifemi Oguntai of TVC, and a host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Yamodina.
I'm the CEO, managing director of Yamodina Sister Restaurant. I choose to serve. Shut up your mouth. Let me finish.
A TV drama series on NTA. Let's get to meet the characters behind Yamodina. This edition also presents exciting features on tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendors near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
An award that has succeeded to pool a galaxy of stars from the north, south, east to the west, and central Africa, and also those that are domiciled beyond the shores of Africa under one roof.
You are about to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
To dey disobey traffic law, they cause accidents. Me, I don't talk, say I no go dey do am again because change begins with me.
Let's cross the other side of the road.
I will no longer endanger my life crossing the express. Instead, I will use the bridge because change begins with me.
Oga driver, stop this bus now, won't come down. I be one carry me past where they go.
Make I dey stop anyhow for road, they cause traffic wahala and accidents. So I go dey stop for the right bus stop because change begins with me.
Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome to Eye on the Road, your weekly informative, educational and interactive program on road maintenance activities and services brought to you by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. Recent studies show that current engineering practices used to build roads will be affected by a warming climate. Findings suggest that the results are likely to be more frequent repairs and a shortened lifespan for roads. Roadway design aims to maximize functionality, safety, and longevity. The materials used for construction, however, are often selected on the assumption of a stationary climate. Climate change may therefore result in rapid infrastructure failure and consequently increased maintenance costs, particularly for paved roads where temperature is a key determinant for material selection. Modern roads are not equipped for climate change. Rising temperatures will cause asphalt to melt and could cost countries billions to repair. Asphalt can crack if it gets too cold or melt if temperatures are high enough. The material can be tailored based on temperature estimates, but a new study has shown that 35% of these estimates were off in recent years. Failing to update engineering standards of practice in light of climate change, therefore, significantly threatens pavement infrastructure. Nigeria is not left out of the impact climate change can have on our roads. Recent rainfalls across the nation have been heavy, unpredictable, and extensive. Some of the worst flooding in recent memory happened in March 2012, when 32 of Nigeria's 36 states were affected, 24 severely.
As you know, the federal road carries over 80% of the load, the traffic load in Nigeria. And even though it's just 20% of the network of roads, but because of these challenges, it's become very, very apparent that we have a strong agency like FEMA that maintains the road. It's been very challenging in the past 5 years, particularly given the change in weather. The water level is rising, and as you know, that bitumen and water are not friends. And because of that, the state of disrepair of the road has been accelerated. But in the past few years, we have made effort to ensure that road maintenance effort is revved up so that we can be able to address road failure and washouts. It's not been easy, but we have a very, very energetic managing director and management team that has risen up to it.
The Direct Labour Unit of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency has carried out emergency repairs along Amanze, mile 71/2, Umuelemai, Umunna Road in Imo State, through the reinstatement of embankment washout. While drainage was constructed along the Amupe Road in Ohafia local government area of the state.
And the federal government for remembering this village. I really appreciate what they are doing. I pray that they will finish this job so that the people in the community will be happy. We have 25 villages that merge in Ohafia. So, in that 25 villages, Amuke is one of them. So, go ahead. I appreciate what is happening this time.
With the Akanu Ibiam Airport, Enugu closed for repairs, airlines have been forced to alter their local and international routes, relying heavily on nearby airports. Some airline operators may have settled for the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, Imo State, and Port Harcourt International Airport, PHIA, in Rivers State, as an alternative to the Enugu Airport. Emergency repairs of routes leading to Sam Mbakwe Airport in Imo State are being carried out. To accommodate the anticipated increase in traffic, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency has also embarked on emergency maintenance repairs of Okigwe Afikpo Road by Direct Labour in Ebonyi State. The Okposi Nara Road is an interstate road linking Ebonyi to Enugu State and also links Abia State. The road has great economic value to the state since quarry products and many agricultural products are moved to the border states and beyond. Currently, the agency is constructing line drains along the road. The agency's Direct Labour Unit is also working along the Kogi State axis of the Okene-Ibilo Road. Work covered provision of stone base, compaction and asphaltic overlay. There has also been direct labor intervention at critical field sections along Bini-Ekpoma-Auchi Road, Edo State. Direct labor was also used for emergency reinstatement of embankment washout and provision of reinforced concrete retaining wall and a 2-cell box culvert along Jalingo-Mutumbiu-Wukari Road in Taraba State. In Zamfara State, the contracts for bridge embankment protection work and construction of reinforced concrete line drain with lean asphaltic shoulder along Kauranamuda, Zurumi Jibia Katsina southbound road in Zamfara State is being executed. The Lagos Marina hosts a number of significant buildings. Buildings along the marina include National House, the first tall office building at Marina, former Central Bank headquarters and investment house, headquarters of Bank of Industry, were built in 1960. New Africa House of UAC, Elder Dempster House, Nigerian Ports Authority Head Office and National Electric Power Authority's former headquarters are located along the marina. Under the Southwest 2 zone, special repairs of outer marina are being carried out by contract. Work includes scarification, provision of stone base, tack coating, asphalt binder laying, asphalt binder rolling, asphalt wearing on binder and compaction, asphalt laying and compaction. Since his assumption of office as the Managing Director of FEMA, Engineer Nuruddin Rafindadi has been clear in his support of his staff and his confidence in their ability to perform as professionals. Taking this affirmation a step further, the agency held an awards and recognition evening to round off their end-of-year stakeholders conference.
To our distinguished and invited guests, we say thank you very much for making this night possible. This night will be memorable to all of us, and we keep remembering it for the next 1 year when we hold another, hopefully even more memorable event. And to every member of staff and management of the agency, I would like to say thank you for me personally, for providing